Good afternoon, Frankie.
Hello.
Hello, friend. Well, let's begin, because maybe it's only you and me.
Yes,
Okay,
I am
let's.
only.
Yes, you are totally alone, Frankie.
Yes, yes.
Well, let's begin. I want to begin checking the exam because it is very important, Frank, that you have the correct answers. So if one day you want to study using the exam, you have the correct answers. So let's check the correct answers of the exam according to Cambridge. Let's begin. Well, the first part is listening. Let's begin with the listening. Part one, question one. You overhear a man talking about an experience he had at an airport. What did he lose? Well, in this case, the number one, according to Cambridge, is letter C. 1C. Number two, you hear an advertisement on the radio. What's special about the fretlight guitar? Well, in number two is letter B, according to Cambridge. It teaches you how to play. In number three, you hear part of the radio program. What's the presenter talking about? This is, in number three is letter A, food safety. In number four, you hear two people discussing a type of pollution. What do the speakers agree about? Well, this is letter B, how they feel about this type of pollution. And now let's go to part number five in next page. You hear a conversation between a shop assistant and a customer about a compact disc. What was the cause of the problem? Well, in number five, the answer is letter B. A mistake was made on the order form. 6. You overhear a conversation at a football game. What does the speaker say about his team? Well, in 6 is letter A. They are better than usual. 7. You overhear a schoolgirl talking to her friend. What does she think about her new teacher? Well, in number 7 is letter C. He is interesting. And finally, 8. In a hotel, you overhear a conversation. Who's the woman? Well, in this case, it's letter B, a tourist. So, in conclusion, Frank, in number 1 is letter C, in number 2 is letter B, in number 3 is letter A, in number 4 is letter B, in number 5 is letter B, in number 6 is letter A, in number 7 is letter C, in number 8 is letter B. There are 8. You needed 5 correct answers to pass listening part 1. Listening part 2. Swimming instructor. Paul works at a hotel in the south of France. So in the space in blank, south of France. He started his job in 1970. 1970. He particularly likes meeting famous people there. Paul isn't interested in teaching children. According to Paul, 50% of all adults can swim. Paul students are afraid of going underwater, or under the water, acceptable too. His students have to put their faces into a salad bowl and breathe. Breathe. B-R-E-A-T-H-E. B-R-E-A-T-H-E. Breathe. Below the surface. The first thing they do in the pool is to float in the water with their faces down. Paul thinks it's essential to be confident in the water. Most people learn to swim after about 3 hours. 3 hours or 3 lessons. Again, they are 10 questions, 10, and you need a minimum of 6 to pass listening part 2, swimming instructor. Let's go to listening part 3. Listening part 3 is about a radio program called Morning Market, and there are 5 speakers. Speaker 1, letter C. Speaker 2, B. Speaker 3, D. Speaker 4, F. Speaker 5, E. I repeat, C, B, D, F, E. They are 5. You needed 6 minimum to pass this listening part 3. Now, listening part 4. This is an interview with a man who makes models for films and models for television. It begins with number 24. According to Cambridge, in 24, Matt got a job doing holiday relief work because he wanted, this is letter C, he wanted to work in television. Letter C, 24, letter C. 25, what did Matt find interesting about the 60s? Well, in 25 is letter A, the fascination with the space travel. 25A. 26, why were Matt's models used on the news? Letter B, some equipment had been destroyed. So 26, letter B. 27, Matt thinks he was successful at getting work in television because, letter C, he was available at the right time. 27, letter C. 28, Matt worked on Bright Star as, well, this is part of a team, letter A. 28, letter A. 29, Matt was invited on children's television to, well, in this case, is letter C, help children make models themselves. 29, letter C. 30, Matt remembers Heart of Darkness because B, his work was recognized. 30B. I repeat, 24C, 25A, 26B, 27C, 28A, 29C, and 30B. They are 7, and you needed a minimum of 4. And now, I divided the exam into 2 parts, the part of listening and the part of use of English, because it is important to know if you have problem in one side or in the other side. The listening, the total marks of listening are 30 marks, and you needed 18 to pass the listening, because 18 is the 60% of 30. And now we go to use of English. Part 1, typical part 1 of the use of English exam. They give you a text with blanks, and you have to choose among A, B, C, or D. The text was everyone's an artist. Well, in number 1 is letter C. Letter C. And what is letter C? Well, you can see it in the paper. Letter C is gather. Gather. In number 2 is letter B. Enjoy. In number 3 is letter C. Length. In number 4, letter B. Once. In number 5, letter D. In exchange for. 6 is letter B. Section. 7 is letter A. Though. 8 is letter B. Invited. 9 is letter A. Set. 10 is letter A. Become. 11 is letter D, which. And 12 is letter C, admire. I repeat, 1C, 2B, 3C, 4B, 5D, 6B, 7A, 8B, 9A, 10A, 11D, 12C. They are exactly 12, and you needed 7 to pass. Use of English Part 2. Problems for actors. This part number 2 in the use of English examination is very similar to part 1. The difference is that now they give you anything, nothing. They give you nothing, they give you no hints, no clues, no keys, nothing. And you have to fill in the blanks with your knowledge of English. Part 2 begins with number 14. No, sorry, 13. This is probably 13, yes. In 13, the missing word is because. 13, because. In number 14, more. More interested in the children. In number 15, the preposition of, problems of a different kind. In number 16, too. T-O-O, too. If they have too much food, too much. 17, two options, two possibilities in 17. You can use be, may not be clear, or sound, may not sound clear. Two options. In 18, three possibilities. When, while, or as. Three possibilities in 18. I repeat, when, while, as. In 19, which. During which, a family, which. In number 20, what. He completely forgot what his next words were, so it's what in 20. In 21 is again. The scene had to be filmed again. In 22, if. This wouldn't really have mattered if there had been another blah, 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 if. In 23, first. Was solved first, at first, nobody knew first. In 24, by. The problem was solved by putting a nail by. I repeat, friend, because in 13, in 14, more, 15, of, 16, to, 17, be or sound. In 18, when, while, or as. In 19, which. In 20, what. In 21, again. In 22, if. In 23, first. And in 24, by. They are 12 questions. You needed 7 correct answers to pass. Use of English Part 2. Problems with for actors. Let's go to airport. Part 3. This is the popular word formation. It begins in number 25. In 25, you need the word frequently. You need the adverb, frequently. In 26, impressive. In 27, comfortable. In 28, flight. In 29, connections. In 30, increasingly. In 31, improvement, or plural, can be improvements also. In 32, noisy. In 33, crowded. In 34, unfortunately. I repeat. 25, frequently. 26, impressive. 27, comfortable. 28, flight. 29, connections. 30, increasingly. 31, improvements. 32, noisy. 33, crowded. 34, unfortunately. They are 10. You needed 6 to pass. And now let's go. Yes. Yes.
Can you spell it 28?
28, 28, 28. Give me a, yes, yes. Flight. F L I G H T. F L I G H T. This is el vuelo, sustantivo. Fly es el verbo, volar. Flight, el vuelo. Well, friends, let's go to the final part of the exam, part 4, the most complicated one. Every answer has a value of 2 marks. So in total, they are 16 marks. Well, they are 8 questions, but I repeat, every answer, 2 marks, so they are 16, and you needed 10 minimum, 10 marks to pass. In number 35, because the first one is 35, is you have to use like, and the answer is John, and now the answer, would like 1 mark to know the second mark. Would like to know. John would like to know more about astronomy. In 36, you have to use let. Because of the parade, the police wouldn't, and now the answer, let us, 1 mark, park, the second mark. Let us park. The complete answer is because of the parade, the police wouldn't let us park in the high street. 37. You have to use seen. Susan wanted to know, and now the answer. If 1 mark, I had seen the second mark. If I had seen. The complete answer is Susan wanted to know if I had seen that film on television on Saturday. 38. You have to use there. I'm afraid that, and now your answer. There is 1 mark, a hole in the second mark. There is a hole in, this is the answer. The complete answer is, I'm afraid that there is a hole in these gyms, Tanya told the shop assistant. Let's go to 39, next page. You have to use attention, then never, and now the answer. Pace, because Dan is he. Attention, pays attention, 1 mark to the second mark. The complete answer is pays attention to. The complete answer is Dan never pays attention to my advice. Some students write any attention acceptable. Dan never pays any attention to my advice. Other students in other classes use much, and this is acceptable too. For example, Dan never pays much attention to my advice. Yes, yes, good. 40. You have to use lend. Fran asked Sarah, and now the answer. If she, 1 mark, would lend him the second mark. Right? The complete answer is Frank asked Sarah if she would lend him her bicycle. According to Cambridge, there is another possibility, a different possibility. And you can use to lend him. To, 1 mark, lend him the second. For example, Frank asked Sarah to lend him her bicycle. Acceptable too. 41. You have to use might. Peter, and now the answer. Might have, 1 mark, forgotten the second mark. Peter might have forgotten that we changed the time of the meeting. 42, fun. Every, and now be careful with every in your examination, because every is always singular. Every person, you see, every guy, every gal, every boy, every girl, never plural. The problem is that in the original sentence you have children, which is plural, and then you have to transform children into the singular child. Every child, 1 mark, has fun, the second mark. Has, because child is he or she, third person singular, you have to use s in the verb. I repeat, every child has fun at this summer camp. And now they are a total of 16 answers, 16 marks, I'm sorry, and you needed 10 marks to pass. And now what is the total of use of English? Well, the total marks are 50, only in the section of use of English, 50. And of course, you needed 30 to pass, 30. In the total of exam, that is the addition of listening and use of English, they are 80. And the passing mark is 48. You needed a minimum of 48 correct answers to pass the mock test number 6. And that was all. This is mock test number 6. And now, to finish the course, we have only one mock test pending. And this is going to happen at the end of unit number 14, which is the last unit in this book. Because when we finish unit number 14, and today we are going to begin unit 13, so when we finish unit 14, we are going to have the last mock test examination, mock test number 7. It will be at the end of July. Well, friends, and now what? Now we have to begin unit number 13, page 140. So let's go to page 140, everybody. Student's book, page 140, here, house space. This is unit number 13. So you don't have to be a magician, or you don't have to be a psychic to realize that the intention of this unit is to prepare you to speak about house, to speak about terrace house, or detached house, semi-detached house, how to say a block of flats, how to mention the different rooms of a house and furniture of a house. This is the vocabulary that we are going to study, because in the exam one day, it is very possible that Cambridge asks you about your house. You have to use the vocabulary you learn. And I need to prepare you for that. The first activity, if you observe the page, is the starting off exercise. Exercise number 1. Work in pairs, impossible. Match each of these types of place to live with the photos. And they give you a list of places where to live with letters, you know. A, for example, is a villa. B is a chalet in the mountains. C is a block of flats with several stories. Well, stories is like floors. A house in a village is letter D. Letter E, a housing estate. You have to use the dictionary for this. And letter F, a mobile home. And now you have to work with the translators, and when you know the meaning, you have to match the name with the picture. For example, a villa, letter A. A villa is picture number 3. You see, observe picture 3. This is a typical villa. For example, a villa in Tuscany, in Italy, similar to this. So friends, I'm going to give you some minutes for you to identify the picture and match the picture with the name of the house. And when you finish, send me a message for me to check it. Okay, Mike? Okay, Frankie? So when you finish, send me a message. Frankie finished? And Mike finished. Very good, very good. So let's answer the question. You know that no, Ebila, letter A is number 3, picture number 3. Perfect. And a chalet in the mountains, what number? Well, for Frank is number 2, picture 2, and for Mike, the same. Yes, very good, correct. A block of flats with several stories. Number? 1 for Frank and 1 for Mike. Excellent, excellent. A house in a village. Number? Frank 4 and Mike the same. Very good, correct. A housing estate. Number? 6 for Frank and for Mike is 6. Yes, very good. This is the concept of housing estate. F, a mobile home. This is the most difficult. Number? 5 for Frank and logically for Mike is number 5. Yes, now you have here some vocabulary. I consider that the most interesting perhaps is number 6, letter E, a housing estate, which is una urbanización here in Spain. Well, now, next part of the class is speaking. No writing, but speaking. Because they want you, friends, to analyze the expressions that you have in exercise number 2 in a box. A quiet neighborhood, for example, a good view, shops within walking distance, a garden, parking space, public parks or public gardens, good public transport, a good local school. This aspect is for you to analyze, and you have to select 3, only 3, that you consider to be very important when you are choosing a house to live. I repeat, imagine that you are choosing a house or a flat to live with your girlfriend or whatever, and there are elements that are important for you. I want you to select 3 and put these 3 elements in the importance of, in the level of importance. Number 1 is the most important, number 2 is important but not so much, and number 3 is the least important of the 3. Do you understand? When you have your list, please read the list to me. Tell me when you finish. Are you ready? Let's see, Mike, my friend, what are the three most important, important factors in the list when you are choosing a house?
I think that it depends on where you live, because
Yes,
but in my case I have choose public parks or gardens, because I think
yes,
that is necessary for ha- for having a good a, a good life,
yes,
and for your
it's
future,
yes, it's very
because
important
if
for
you
me too, Mike. I love parks and gardens, yes. And the second?
the second, if you live in Madrid, is the most important thing for me. Have a good public transport, because
Yes, yes,
you
very good.
want to if you want to move around the city, or I think that is important.
Yes. And number three?
And number three is a good local school for.
Because you are planning to have a lot of children.
Yes, but but first I have to have a girlfriend. So by the moment, nothing.
Yes, step by step.
Step by step, yes.
Good. Thank you very much, Mike. Let's see now. What about Frankie? Frankie, what are your three important elements when you are choosing a house?
For me, it's really important if I would change my house. The first, for example, public parks or gardens,
Yes,
and second, a good view
yes,
from my balcony or window,
yes.
uh, and three, a good public transport. Uh,
Excellent. Eh,
go to work or
and Frank, so you want to open your windows and see the public park and garden.
yes, I
Good.
love it.
I love it too. Yes. Thank you very much, friends. Thank you very much. So, and what is the importance of this exercise too? The importance is that one of the most repetitive questions in the speaking exam, in that first moment of personal questions, is asking you about this, you know, what are the important factors you consider when you are choosing a new house? And then you have to say something similar to this. For me, it is very important a quiet neighborhood, to have a good view from my balcony, as Frank said, that there are some shops within walking distance so I don't have to take a bus or the car to go shopping, that my house has a good garden, that there are parking space near my house so I don't have to pay for a garage, that there are many public parks and gardens so my children can play there. Having good public transport is also important if you want to move to the city center. And as Mike said, a good local school is very important for my children, etc. So they are giving you vocabulary for you to express your ideas. But now let's see something that is going to help you with this problem of the vocabulary dealing with house. I want you to watch some videos that I found on the internet, and when I saw the video, I said, "My God, this is very important for my class," and I downloaded. Let me show you this. Well, this is it. You see, this is a studio apartment. Observe that they use apartment, something that is not very common in England. In England, they prefer to say flat. Flat is a synonym of apartment. Stories, synonym of floors. Elevator in America, in England, lift. They are synonyms, elevator and lift. Little differences, but they understand, you know. Let's see the second video, which are the characteristic of houses in England. Well, I send both videos to your WhatsApp because I think that maybe one of these days when you have a chance, you can watch the video again and write down notes, you know, because there are a lot of vocabulary here that could be very important for you, right? I want you to take a piece of paper and a pencil and watch the video again one of these days and copy the new words and look them up in the dictionaries because it is important to improve your vocabulary. Well, now what? Let's go to page number 142. Page 142, because there we have the vocabulary we are going to study now. This page that you can see on the screen. Vocabulary: space, place, room, area, location, square. My God, what is this? Well, if you observe this page, they mention that you can find, I'm going to show you in exercise number 2. Observe exercise number 2, everybody. Look at the definitions on page 185. I was analyzing the definitions, and to be honest, the definitions are more complicated than the words. Anyway, I prepared a PowerPoint to show you the definitions, and you will see that they don't help you very much. Give me a chance. I'm going to show you this. Sometimes the definitions are, my God, more difficult to understand than the word itself. Well, space, this is what you have on page 185. It says space is an empty area which is available to be used. Huh? This is the concept of space. You see, it says nothing important. Place, an area, a town, a building, etc., a suitable area, a suitable building, a suitable situation or occasion. My God, what? But you know the translation, which is very similar to Spanish. Room, well, this is interesting. Room is interesting because you know that room can be, for example, the bedroom, the living room. These are rooms, but not in this case. I think that in unit number 1, when we began this course, or maybe unit number 2, we studied the collocation with make and do. And when we were studying these collocations with make and do, we studied one expression that was make room. And maybe you remember, maybe you don't. Make room in Spanish, abran paso, déjenme pasar, something like that, make room. Because room in English can be also a synonym of a space. Area is a particular part of a place, right? Piece of land or country. We can say that in America, there are some areas for Native Americans living there, what we consider Indians, because people say Indians, but they are not from India. They are native inhabitants of North America, and now they are living in specific particular areas of North America. Area is that. Location is slightly, not very much, but slightly formal, and it means a place or a position. We normally say, and what is the location of the house? The house is in Móstoles, but the location. Square, for example, what? Plaza Mayor is a square, because square in Spanish is like plaza. In London, there is a very famous square. Trafalgar Square is very famous. So a square is an area of approximately square-shaped land in a city or a town, often including the buildings that surrounds the square. So all the area is the square. Well, you see, what I wanted you to know is that sometimes we read the definition of a word in the dictionary and it doesn't help. It doesn't help. I think that more useful is to use the words and let's see what happens, because this is not an exam. So if we do it correctly, perfect. And if we've made mistakes, it doesn't matter, we learn. I would like to begin by doing exercise number 2, page 142. Exercise 2. Look at the definitions on page 185. Well, you saw the definition. If you want, you can go there. Then circle the correct word in italic in these sentences. For example, number 1, we don't have enough area, or we don't have enough space in our garden to hold, remember that hold is celebrate, to hold the party. Friends, without the definitions or dictionaries, what do you think is the adequate here, area or space? For Mike is a space, and for, yes, and for Frank is a space. Correct, exactly. Continue with the rest of the exercise. Observe that they are 10 sentences. And when you finish, send me a message for me to check it. Well, Frank finished and Mike finished. Okay, good. He says, number 2. I hope I will have enough place or enough room. What's your opinion in number 2? Place or room? For Frank, it's room. And for Mike? Room. Very good. Room is perfect. In number 3, sorry, I'm late. I just couldn't find a parking place or a parking space anywhere. What do you think in 3, place or space? Place for Frank, and for Mike, place, no, is space, parking space. Number 4, I'm enclosing a map which shows the location or which shows the place of my school. Location or place of my school? Well, location for Mike and location for Frank. Excellent. Yes, yes. 5, it's dangerous to go walking in a mountainous area or in a mountainous place. Area or place in number 5 for you? What is it? Area for Frank, and for Mike, a place. No, it's area. Mountainous area. 6, the animals in this zoo have a lot of area or have a lot of space to move around. Area or space? Space for Mike and for Frank, space. Correct. 7, the concert will take place in the main square or the concert will take place in the main place in front of the cathedral. 7, square or place? For Frank is square, and for Mike, the same, square. Excellent. 8, the area of forest where they are going, or the space of forest where they are going to build a new shopping center. Area or space in number 8? For Frank, space, and for Mike, area. Area is the correct choice here in number 8, the area of forest. Now, number 9, there isn't enough place or there isn't enough space to build more houses. Place or space? For Frankie is space, and for Mike is the same. Very good, you are correct. 10, it's fine for you to stay at our place as we've got loads of room or as we've got loads of place. Room or place in 10 opinions? For Mike is room and for Frank is room. Very good. Room is correct, my friends. Very good. Now, observe exercise number 3. This exercise that you have here, you see this exercise here, work in pairs, write area, place, room, or space in the gaps to form collocations. We are going to deal with collocations. What is the meaning of collocations? That you have to study by memory, because we always say these 2 words together. Let's see number 1. Hiding, market, meeting, blank. In the blank, please copy place. Place. And now you have collocations with the word place. Hiding place. Hiding place is escondite. Marketplace is un mercado o mercadillo. Meeting place is punto de reunión. You see, these are collocations. Hiding place, marketplace, and meeting place. We don't say hiding area. We don't say hiding space. No, it's hiding place, marketplace, meeting place. Well, meeting point exists, right? But point is not one of the vocabulary we are studying today. Let's go to the second group of collocations. Floor, green, office, parking, personal, public, blank. In the blank, copy space. These are the collocations with space. Floor space, green space. So you see office space, parking space, personal space, and public space. We don't use floor, place, for example, is a space. Now, in number 3, we have head, leg, standing, blank. In the blank, copy room, because these are the collocations with the word room. Head room, leg room. Well, what is the meaning of that? Sometimes you get into a car, a taxi, and the taxi is very small, and you feel that your head is touching the roof of the car, and you feel that you don't have enough head room. You don't have space for your headroom. The same with the legs. Imagine when you are flying on a plane and it's very uncomfortable, and your knees are touching the back of the seat in front of you. You feel very uncomfortable because there is not enough leg room. Standing room is something we use in America and in England, and I don't know how to call that. Some people say that this is the la sala de estar. You are waiting for someone, you are waiting for a meeting or something, and in a room everybody is standing. They are not sitting, they are standing waiting to be called. So this is the standing room. So I repeat: headroom, leg room, standing room. Collocations with room. And now number 4 is collocations with area. Dining area, penalty area, picnic area, play area, reception area. Penalty area, because you use it in football, is el área de penalty area, etc., etc. So there are areas dedicated to this use, for dining, for penalty, for picnic, for play, or for reception. Well, now, what is your work? Your work is to do exercise 4. Observe, please, exercise 4, the same page. Complete these sentences by writing one of the collocations from exercise 3, the collocations we studied recently, in the gaps. So read the 6 sentences, and fill in the blanks using the collocations in exercise number 3. When you finish, send me a message. Well, Mike finished and Frankie finished. Very good. Let's check this. Number one, teachers get angry when students leave their cars in their personal what? Parking spaces, Frankie boy. And Mike? Well, parking, Mike, parking spaces, parking spaces. If someone makes you feel uncomfortable by standing too close to you, we say that they have entered your what? For Mike is personal space, and for Frank is, yes, Frank, Mike is correct. Personal space. Personal space. Number three, I love my school. It's surrounded by with lot of trees and lawns. What is it here in number three? Green space for Frankie, and for Mike, the same. Good. For I'm tall, and the seats on the plane didn't, sorry, it's past. I'm tall, and the seats on the plane didn't have enough what? Leg room for Frankie boy, and for Mike, leg room, Mike, leg room. Frank is correct. Five, there are a lot of stalls in the blank selling fresh fruit and vegetables in the what? Marketplace for Frankie boy. And the same for Mike. Yes, very good. Six, when you go to the country, it's good to find a blank where you can sit and eat a sandwich. What is it, number six for you? Picnic area for Mike and Frank. Picnic area. Excellent, friends. These are the collocations that I wanted to study with you. The problem with collocations is that we forget logically. So I want you to mark this page 142 for you to revise these topics in 2 or 3 days so you won't forget about it. Now I want you to watch a teacher. This teacher is from Oxford, and he's going to prepare you to the speaking exam. The teacher is going to prepare you for speaking about your house, and he's going to give you details, informations, things that are going to enrich your vocabulary for you to speak about your house in case that in the final exam speaking, the teacher, or writing, because 2 years ago, the essay was about your house, and you had to use all the vocabulary that we are studying here today. So let's watch this video. Well, you have this video now in your WhatsApp group in case you want to watch it again and take down notes of the vocabulary he uses, the ideas he gives you to speak about your house. A lot of elements, you know, but these ideas helps you to be speaking about your house for a minute or more, which is something so necessary sometimes. Now, I would like to begin practicing some listening because we practice speaking at the beginning of the class, then some vocabulary, and now let's practice some listening. I refer to listening part 2 that begins on page 142, but I want to concentrate your attention on page 143, exercise number 3. Let's see this. Where is it? Here. No. Nope. My God, I can't see it. Here, yes. Exercise 3, now read these sentences and predict what type of information or what type of words you need for each gap. For example, in question number 1, it's probably a length of time. Yes, a length of time, un periodo de tiempo. He says, it is probable that we need a length of time in number 1 because it says Jeff has lived in the house for, and according to the book, in this blank, you expect the person to say something like for 2 days, 3 hours, 2 years, something similar to that, a length of time. And if you are prepared for that, they say that you can have better results in the in the listening examination. I don't know if this is true or not. Let's see that. He thinks his house is haunted. Remember the meaning of haunted, Frank and Mike? Do you know the meaning of this adjective, haunted? Can you look for it? Look it up in your translator, haunted. Nobody? Frank and Mike? And you, Mike, do you know the meaning of haunted? Yes. Yes. Can you read that, Frank? Embrujada, encantada. Good. That is haunted. So I read again. Jeff has lived in the house for, and now we need a length of time, 2 years, 5 years, 2 hours, 3 months, a length of time. And we are prepared for that. He thinks his house is haunted because of the blank which people have had there. Can you guess, because the word is guess, adivinar, can you guess possible words we can use in space number 2? He thinks his house is haunted because of the blank which people have had there. Possibilities, friends.
Maybe the people who live. No, I don't know.
We need a word that matches. He said he thinks his house is haunted because of the blank which people have had there. Que la gente han tenido allí, en esa casa, allí. Mike, do you have any idea? Logically, we don't know, we are guessing, estamos adivinando, we are guessing because we don't know. An object, Yes, so using object because of the object which people have had there. El objeto que ellos han tenido no pega con han tenido. Un objeto. Te leo la oración. Escuchen, chicos. Person. Because of the person which people. La persona. Debido a. Because of it, debido a. Debido a la persona que la gente han tenido allí. No, porque no pega. La gente no puede tener personas. Dice la oración. Él piensa que su casa está encantada o embrujada o. No me acuerdo qué decía Mike. Debido a la blanco que la gente han tenido allí. Debido a la o a los nada. Podríamos decir debido a los sustos que la gente han tenido allí, debido a los problemas que la gente han tenido allí. Sí, Dad, es lo que quiere que hagamos, porque dicen que si yo soy capaz de anticipar palabras, no van a ser las mismas que dicen ellos. Puede que sí, pero no es lo que espera el libro. Pero estoy preparado para oír algo así, como en la número 1. Estoy esperando un periodo de tiempo, que me diga que fueron 3 meses, 2 días, 4 años. Estoy esperando. Cuando lo oigo ya lo cojo enseguida. Si la segunda dice, él piensa que su casa está encantada porque, no, debido a, because of, debido a la espacio en blanco que la gente han tenido allí, debido a los problemas, debido a los sustos, debido a las dificultades que la gente han tenido allí. Una cosa sí me serviría, creo yo. Ok, his blank so medieval soldiers. His blank, ¿qué podría ir en ese blanco? His blank saw medieval soldiers. Muchas cosas pueden ir ahí. ¿Me pueden decir una? Owner, su dueño vio, puede ser, su dueño, pero su dueño, his, es dueño de él. Entonces, dueño no me pega porque el dueño de él. No, otra cosa tiene que ser. Porque no hay dueños de las personas. O sea, su dueños es como en el tiempo de los esclavistas. No me pega. Pero algo más. Nada, Frank, nada, Mike. Bueno, pues tenemos que dejarlo para la próxima clase porque no hay tiempo. Bueno, yo pienso que puede ser su papá, ¿no? Porque dice que él ha vivido allí, pues con la familia. Yo digo su papá, su mamá, su hermana, su primo. Se me ocurre a mí. Okay, friends, let's stop here. The homework for next class is on page 141. So let's go to page 141. 41. Here. My new home in Venice, exercise 4. So exercise 4, page 141. This is the homework, right? It's reading comprehension. Thank you, Mike. Thank you, Frankie, for your attention. See you next week. Have a beautiful weekend, friends. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye, friend.